were we talking about?
You back. Yeah, you enjoy participating in team-based activities. I'm going to say 1, but I don't know what side. I'm going to say 1 agree.
I said 2 disagree.
Wow, I was way off there.
Because I don't like being part of teams because I'm like, oh my God, am I doing enough? I'm not doing enough. I used to, in groups, like when I was younger, I used to do all the work in middle school. And then as it got to high school and even college, I felt like I was not doing a lot of the work. I felt like I was doing less than everyone else. And I don't know if that was because I got lazy. I don't know if that was because I was so used to doing everything that I wasn't. Like, that doing an equal amount was, it could have been just self-doubt. Because I never want to be like
working on teams. It's just your self-reflection on your participation and contributions to the team affects how much you enjoy it.
That's why I would rather do it completely on my own, and know for a fact I did everything.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Because I feel like I can slip into a lazy state of just whatever. But I never want somebody to be like, oh, he did nothing. Like, I don't want, like, that's a bad look to be the person in the group project that did nothing. Never want to be that person.
Right. I agree. I overcompensate and I might do more. And then I'm not necessarily good at delegating. It's like pros and cons to both sides.
Yeah.
What do you think I said for this one? I might have given you a clue. I don't know. I just contributing to that piece of the conversation.
I think we were 1 disagree. Because I think you like working with people, but I think when you're like you just said with the delegating, I think if you want something done a certain way, you're very, like, you want it done a certain way. Like, we've had this conversation about Big Brother with me. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, why are there 2 different series? Well, 1, I want to play in yours, but B, I want to have control of, like, every part of mine. You know what I mean? So that's why. Like, I want to help and I want to do everything I can that you ask me to for yours. But at the end of the day, I want, like, when I'm doing mine, I want to be like, okay, this is what I'm doing, and not feel bad about saying, like, not saying, like, are you okay with this competition? Are you okay? So that's why. I just made that about me. I'm so sorry.
You're good. I did 1 agree.
Interesting.
Because
that doesn't shock me, though, because you're a very, like, friendly person, so I can see you being collaborative at the same time.
I love working with a team. I do. I'm a very independent worker, but I love going to a team and being like, what are your thoughts on this? And then coming back and maybe doing independent work. So, like, maybe not necessarily always doing partnered work where we're doing the same task together, but having a team to be like 5 bajillion and 1 garage, doing another task, but like doing it, having the support of a team. I really like I'm thinking about in campus ministry. I had 3 other sacristans and a supervisor. Right. I loved doing that with them because it was always like, we'd hold each other accountable. It'd be great. Even in my position right now in campus ministry, I like doing that. And even for Big Brother, when we've been playing, I've been saying too, like, I don't think I'd be able to host by myself. I think I could do the logistics.
I think you can.
I can do logistics and all of that, but I don't think I'd like the emotional toll and not being able to share what I'm thinking. And like, I like having another thought. Like, for example, one of the competitions, you think you know which one I'm talking about, but I was like, is that going to be okay toward the end? When we replaced another controversial one from the previous game, do you know what I'm talking about? Like,
nope, but sure.
I enjoy working in teams, even though I am very independent. You enjoy experimenting with new and untested approaches. This is you to me. I'm going to lock my answer in right now. I'm going back and forth between 2, but I'm curious what you think I am.
I think you're going back and forth between 1 disagree and 1 agree, honestly. But I think at the end of the day, new and untested approaches.
So you think I'm between 1 agree and 1 disagree?
Yeah, I'm going to say one agree. Experimenting with new and untested approaches. I think you're open to, if there's a better way of doing things, you're open to it.
I actually did 2 disagree. Because I think it's, again, me not being creative necessarily, but I think, like, I'm thinking in terms of my work, like, I really value, like, evidence-based approaches.
Right.
And I think there's also value into, like, new techniques and new ways of doing things, but for some reason I don't like necessarily being the first person to do something.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's a safe, that makes sense.
Okay. You locked in, I didn't give you yours, right?
Mhm.
Okay, you enjoy experimenting with new and untested approaches. I think you are 1 agree.
I said 2 agree.
2 agree.
I think about when I was like taking notes as a like in like middle school and high school, and I never was good at it, and that felt like a failure to me, because I like wrote everything, So I would be like, even though the teacher wants us to do it this way, I'm gonna try it this way because this way will work, and this way will work. Or I'll be able to do it this way, and so it became like I'm always trying new ways of things, if that makes sense, in that type of way. Same with like organizing, because I'm just bad at it. It's like, I'll use this app. No, I'll use this app. Oh, Teams didn't work. I'll use this app. So that's what I'm thinking. So I'll say 2.
Yeah, I'm just very stubborn in that way. For some reason, I can't. I'm not good with change in general, so I think.
I'm usually not either.
But with this, like, yeah.
Yeah.
You said 2 agree.
I said 2 agree.
Okay.
You prioritize being sensitive over being completely honest.
Locked in?
Mm-hmm.
I think you said 2 agree.
I did.
Okay.
And the reason I said that is because I will often lie to make a person feel good, and because I don't like confrontation. But at the same time, especially recently, I've been trying to think of like, well, I want to be a good friend too, and not be like just the yes person.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
if somebody is complaining to me about something, and I think that there's something that they can do, I don't want to give them I don't want to back them up just to back them up. Like, I want to say, like, or you could probably do this, or, without calling them out, like, or like, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah.
So I'm very bad at it. Very bad at it.
You said 2 agree.
I said 2 agree. I prioritize being sensitive over completely honest, but I do value authenticity. So
yeah, What do you think I did?
I think you said 1 agree.
I did.
Yeah, because you're an honest person, but you're also like somebody that very much values.
I take
how
into
people, like,
into account with my honesty, or at least how it's delivered, how someone might react to it. Like,
Right.
I feel like the method in which honesty is delivered pays, or is important, in how it's received. And so I think that's why I did agree. But I don't think that I would not be honest with somebody to completely shield them from whatever.
Depends on what it is. It's like, oh, do I look pretty today? Or,
Right.
hey,
Yeah, it certainly
did
depends
so
on what it
and
is.
so say this about me to you?
Oh, it totally depends.
Like,
on what
it's
it is.
really like a situational thing.
Yeah, for sure.
But look at us go. We're back to the right answers.
Okay, next question. You actively seek out new experiences and knowledge areas to explore. I feel like we've covered this potentially. Maybe?
I felt like we haven't.
No? You actively seek out new experiences and knowledge areas to explore. I think you are on the agree side 1.
So I'm on the disagree side 1 because
Okay.
I'm not really interested in like new like I'm not someone that ever has to leave the country. Interestingly. But like I'm fine with just vacationing here. I heard that into the microphone. But I like to know about what's going on when it comes to social
Okay.
issues. And I'm really bad at that too, but I like to like be I want to be
Yeah,
informed.
I feel like
Let's say that.
you put in the work to inform yourself on that too.
To an extent, I could do a lot better of a job, but
You're downplaying yourself, but I think.
well, thanks. Shout out
But you said
to
like
Milo though from episode God knows
I
what.
have no idea. The
Because that was such a cool. I had a really cool conversation about them. Well, I'm not even talking about the episode. That was great too. But I just had a really great
they're a great
conversation with
person
them.
too.
Yeah, though they really are a great person. But I just had a really great conversation with them the other day on Instagram. But anyways, I think that you are a 2 for agree.
I'm a 1 agree.
You like new things.
I do like new things. I like exploring things. I talked about, I think, last episode, exploring San Francisco. I thought that was cool. I love traveling. I think if that's a new thing, if each area I travel is considered a new thing, I love exploring new things. I also I'm just fascinated by the world because I'm just fascinated by like anything from traveling. Are we? I feel like we're like
I don't know. We're walking our fingers to each other.
I feel like we're I like traveling. I like I don't know, like worlds, like movies, how movies are being built. I think that's an interesting thing. I get obsessed for some reason, and I use that lightly.
You're telling me, I do too.
With like
I use it lightly
TikTok sounds. Like,
Yeah.
have you heard of the German song that's like Barbara's Rhubarb Bar?
No.
Oh, it's so fun. I just keep listening to that over and over. Like, that's a TikTok thing that keeps going over and over. And that Pedro one that I mentioned.
heard that
For
either.
some reason, those come up on my For You page on Instagram.
They haven't. I was gonna say they haven't made it to Instagram for me yet.
But they're all
I
on
just
Insta- I
get
don't
the
have TikTok.
most cursed images you've
You
ever
do.
seen, and
You
I
get
send
some
them
really
to you.
fucked up images on
What
Instagram.
was the one that was like?
It was Paul Rudd.
It was Paul Rudd, and on the top it said, "I don't actually have." What did he not actually have?
Netflix.
I don't actually have Netflix. Take off your socks.
Yeah. Or
What?
Disney Plus or
Or
whatever.
I don't have Disney Plus. So it was like take off your.
But
It
I
was
do
like the most cursed thing
It
ever.
was weird. You send me the weirdest shit.
Shrek memes.
Shrek memes.
Sometimes.
That grandma. You actively
Yeah.
seek out new experiences and knowledge areas. I am agree 1. You are prone to worrying that things will take a turn for the worse. I'm locked in.
I think you're a 1 disagree, perhaps a. No, sorry, a 1 agree, perhaps a 2, but I would say a 1.
I am a 2 disagree.
I really hit that one out of the park, folks.
I would say I'm an optimist, almost to a fault. Like I
Yeah,
always
you are an optimist.
I always feel like things are gonna work out, or if something not right away, but I maybe I'm just open to God moments. Like I'll see if something bad happens or something not so great is happening on the range of terrible things that could happen in the world. I try and look for silver linings, God moments, and I recognize that can be a toxic trait too.
Sometimes you just need it to get through, though.
Fair. It's a coping mechanism as well, or defense mechanism, really.
Right.
But I don't think I'm as prone to worrying things will take a turn for the worse. There are times, which is why I'm not a 3, but I did a 2 for disagree.
Mhm. I'm often not a 3 for anything, except like a fanatic.
That's a level of commitment I'm not ready for. I
Right?
feel like it's a 3 for
We
everything.
just got to holding hands.
yeah,
Yeah,
tickling.
apparently. You. Oh, I haven't answered yet.
You're locked in?
Yep.
I think a 1 agree.
I said a 2 agree.
Okay.
I will worry about anything, but I think again
Given the opportunity.
medication
Yeah.
has kind of given me sometimes like the world is ending. Have you seen the SpongeBob meme where like there's literal explosions behind him and he's just like,
yeah.
so yeah.
Okay. So 2 agree.
Yes.
You'll take the opportunity to worry about something
Yes, I will.
if it presents itself.
Also, my eyebrows are horrible right now. You know how I usually say eyebrows by Catherine Aesthetics? No. Today they're eyebrows by A Walk in the Woods, like, like living in the woods
An
for a month.
eyebrow by Walk in the Woods.
A month in the woods, really.
A month in the woods.
She's doing them on Tuesday though. Thank you, Claire.
Great. You enjoy solitary hobbies or activities more than group ones. This is for you. I think
Mm.
it's this one differentiates itself from a previous question because it's working in teams versus doing
Right,
fun
versus
things.
hanging out.
And I think you're a 1 for disagree.
This is my first neutral. Because I love doing things on my own. I love being alone. And I also love going out with a group.
Okay, yeah.
And hanging out with friends and being with people.
Yeah.
So I really couldn't choose.
I feel like
I have
this one's
strong
touching
feelings
on
about
the
both.
introversion, extroversion.
It
type
absolutely is. I recharge from being alone.
of thing. Okay. I don't.
100%. Like, I'm drained today. Not just from, like, being on all day, but, like, I'm having a great time.
Yeah.
And I put myself in social situations all the time. Like, I'm not the person to be like, all right, I want to go home. Ever. I would say. Like, usually I'm, like, the one that's like, let's keep this party
Get
going.
the hell out of my house.
No, I'm the opposite. I'm like, do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? And I'm like,
Call
I
your
don't want to
sister,
make you...
pick me up at 1 a.m.
Yeah.
Like my
but
sister.
But I'm not, like... The only reason I'll check in 16 times being like, are you sure you're, like, comfortable? Like, you don't have to stay
I'll
if you
do
don't
that
want to.
too.
But, like, I'm having a good time. Like, if you want to stay, like, I'd be down. Don't let me force you. Like, that's me. But, yeah. I will need to recharge tonight before work.
Neutral. So you kind of go
Yeah,
both ways. Yeah.
I love both.
Yeah. Where do you think I fall? I feel like this one might be more one of my more obvious.
Yeah,
ones.
this one is obvious. I would say disagree. I would say a 2 because I don't think you're a 3 for... Like, I think there are some things you probably want to do alone.
I'm a 2.
Yeah.
You disagree.
Yeah.
And I've learned more about that part of myself living alone because I really do like coming home after a long day and being by myself.
Which is something you were afraid of.
I was terrified of. I still am sometimes because
right.
I think we're all scared of the thoughts.
Right, exactly. But we've had conversations about that. We decided we're picking up our microphones are handheld now, apparently, according to Justin.
I need one of the things that
comes down in front of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had conversations both before you went to school and while like on the phone and stuff.
Yeah. But I enjoy like this is a hobby of ours. Of mine, for sure, and it's a group one with Dan included. Activities, I prefer doing activities with groups. I'm never gonna be someone who's gonna like, oh, I'm just gonna backpack in Europe by myself. Like, no, it's always gonna be the people that I'm with.
Right.
But I didn't do 3 because I do value and enjoy alone time. Like I do like reading. I do like binge watching shows. Like there's nothing. Actually, a pet peeve, I guess, of mine is if we're watching a show with somebody. It's like, oh, we're gonna watch and we'll stay in the episodes. And then they not make time, but lack of a better phrase, make time. So then I'm like, I want to get through more episodes, but then I have to wait for I can't stand that. Anyway, this happens in my family sometimes. You cannot imagine yourself writing fictional stories for a living. This one seems very out of nowhere.
Yeah, it really does. I was thinking that too. That's like so specific. I feel like you're a 2 or a 3 disagree.
You cannot imagine yourself writing fictional stories.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're a 2 or a 3 agree. Like, I feel like you can't imagine yourself doing that for a living. No, I just thought disagree meaning like disagree, like you disagree with that being something you could do or would want to do.
I'm a 2 agree. I cannot imagine. Like,
yeah, that's what I said. That's what I said.
You said you really like writing. I like writing, but on my own timeline. I can't even the research part of my program, like there's timelines is that like I'll do it in my own time, but I don't feel like I like writing enough that it's like, here we go. I'm going to write a 200, 300 page book so I can pay my bills for the next year or two. I couldn't do that. I do like being creative. I also don't think I can do twists off of like things that have happened, but I can't create a whole world like,
that's something I struggle with too.
Lord of the Rings or something like that.
That's something I struggle with too.
I think you are a 1 agree.
I can't imagine myself writing
fictional stories for a living.
Yeah. I said,
judging by your reaction, that's a wrong
answer. I said 3
answer.
disagree.
3 disagree.
Because
I was way off.
Here's the thing. I can't come up with I can't. I won't say I can't because maybe I just haven't yet. But I can't come up with like a fictional world because nothing is fully original, and that would bother me too much. You know what I mean?
Like shouldn't you be 3 agree? If you cannot imagine yourself?
No, I haven't finished.
You can't.
Sorry.
Okay.
I love the idea of it, and if I would work hard to get to that original idea, and I would love to do it. Like I love writing books. Writing, I have written a book. I've finished one. I
Yeah.
didn't publish it. I didn't do a draft. I finished the first draft of it, but it wasn't. It was fiction, but it was based on real. And like that's the other thing too. Like what's based on real events, but still fiction. Everything's based on like nobody's
Like
coming up with
nonfiction is just a retelling of something that's happened, like history books.
right. Whereas like fiction, but I still feel like fiction all has ties to something that actually happened
Right.
in the person's life. But I love and for a living implies that you're publishing them. So I would love to do that. Do I think it's sustainable nowadays? No, because unless you're like a national bestseller with multiple best-selling books. I somewhere I read that somebody published 2 books, made it onto the New York Times, and started making money on the third one.
They had 2 books that did that? Wow,
Mhm.
that's crazy.
So
I think the money now for authors is creating a unique story that then Hollywood picks up.
yes, I agree.
Unfortunately, because I think there's some great books out there.
Mm-hmm.
You favor efficiency in decisions, even if it means disregarding some emotional aspects.
What?
How fast a decision can be made.
Oh.
What?
I just did it. That like went right over my head.
I think you're definitely disagree. I think you're 2 disagree.
I said 3 in a snap decision. Disagree because like
Okay.
I don't like to just like make a decision on the fly. I really need to think about it.
Yeah.
Like I'll even go to a store and take a picture of something, and then be like, oh, I need to look into it more. I just came to look at it today.
Marinate on it, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I am going back to an earlier argument that you had on a previous question
Mm-hmm.
about gray decisions versus black
The-
and white decisions,
Mm-hmm.
because I did oh wait.
I have to
didn't-
guess.
Yeah, you have to
What you-
guess.
I don't think you're somebody that makes snap decisions. I would say you're a 1 disagree because I do think you like if you know an answer, like you'll go with it. Like you like a tried and true approach. But I'm thinking of this more in terms of like, do you want to do this or do you want to do that? Not like how are we going to tackle this task. I think you're a 1 disagree.
I'm a 2 disagree.
Okay.
And I think again that grayness, because I think I try and prioritize like emotional aspects to how decisions are being made, but I think there are also times when the timeline in which a decision needs to be made happens a lot faster than
You need
people
to
can
make a quick
react, and so you
decision.
have to make like I think leaders can figure out when decisions have to be made
It's
fast,
important.
and ideally that includes prioritizing everybody that's going to affect. Isn't always successful, but I think that there are times where that's why I'm not a 3. I'm a disagree, but I'm not a 3 disagree
Mm-hmm.
for that reason. Next one, you prefer to do your chores before allowing yourself to relax. This is you for me. I'm going to lock something in. Okay. Look at me. You just-
This is a double-sided question
okay.
because
Why?
I guess I'll wait to explain why for when I'm going, but I think you are pretty close to neutral here. I don't think you answered neutral, though. I'm almost positive you did not answer neutral. That would be really impressive if you did, and I called that. But I don't think you did. So I'm going to not stick to that statement and say you're a 1 agree. But I'll say what I said, what I was about to say is that whether you prefer to do it and you actually do it are 2 different things. I'm not saying you specifically, I'm just saying like people. So I'm going to say you said 1 agree.
I said 1 agree.
Yeah.
Yep. Because not even just chores. If I have a list, I won't let myself relax until that list is done. That to-do list is done.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a time and place. Like if it's a long-term project, I'll make a little progress on the project. I won't finish it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I will allow myself to relax. Or even like homework, I'll work until a certain point, and then I'm like, all right, I'm too tired. I'm just going to turn it off for the night.
Right.
I'll do that. But otherwise, I think I this probably isn't the most healthy way, but I allow myself the reward of relaxation once I've earned it.
I get that. I'm kind of like similar to what you just said, but it's more like I want to be able to fully relax without having to think about everything.
Okay.
I didn't give my answer, so maybe we should just let you guess.
You prefer to do your chores before allowing yourself to relax. But based on what you said, I'm not sure. But I'm going to say, I'm also going to say 1 agree.
I said 1 disagree
Okay.
because I'm not.
I
Again,
don't
it's
think I've
whether
gotten
you
one
do it
right in a very long time.
You have.
Have
I think
Okay.
maybe. I feel like we were at the beginning. We were like
doing
on
really
fire.
great. I don't know if we're tired now at this point.
I don't know, but I ideally I would like to do this, and I like to. Yeah, I guess my answer was misleading because I didn't finish it. But
Yeah.
whether I do it or not is a different story. Like to, yes, but if I sit down and I'm like, oh, this is comfy, and I'm playing on my phone, it usually wins.
Yeah.
So.
That's, I think, different than actually allowing yourself. Because I think I get sucked into my couch all the time. If I have things to do, that's like procrastination. I don't know if that's like, I have to do chores before I relax. I don't know. Maybe that's just someone who's better at not procrastinating than we are. But
Speaking of couches and getting sucked into it, this is just a random thought I'm having based on that. Did you know Tinder, one of the
likely not.
right. One of the options of hobbies is couch surfing, and I'm like, I don't couch surfing. And I'm like,
What
I
is
don't know if you
couch
want
surfing?
to publish that. It's basically when you go from I guess this is what I think it is at least, friend's house to friend's house and crash at their house.
Huh.
You're always on a different friend's couch.
That's an interesting hobby to want
Right?
to publish,
Right? I feel like that's
publicize. Yeah,
yeah. I
that's
don't know.
interesting.
It's number 1 on my list.
Anyway.
It's not. I do not. I don't. I wouldn't like that lifestyle. That seems not stable.
Yeah. Go home. Go
Yeah, right?
This is for you. In
This is
disagreement.
Justin's 16th day on my couch, by the way. 16 person, 1 for each personality option.
In disagreements, you prioritize proving your point over preserving the feelings of others. I answered. Did you answer?
Yeah, this is really tough though. I haven't answered yet, so I guess no.
I guess the answer to your question is no.
Right.
I'm going to say I think you're a 2 disagree. You sound disappointed in my answer or in your answer.
Disappointed in my answer.
My answer.
Because I have a neutral. And the reason I have a neutral
Really?
is because it depends on who I'm talking to. My family
Oh, that's so true.
or friends.
That's so true. For
You know what I mean?
Oh, it's so true.
I'm
yep.
going to prove my point if it's with a family member.
Yeah.
But
That's so
and
true.
even with friends sometimes, if I have a point, I'll stick to it unless it's going to hurt their feelings. So yeah.
That's so true for you. I didn't even think about that. I said for you 2 disagree because I feel like the preserving the feelings is really important to you, which is true. But I think you you brought up the depends for you, and I see that.
Yeah.
For better or for worse.
I agree.
What do you think I said?
I think you said you're kind of a matter of fact person, but you're also very considerate. I would say it depends on the situation. What are you trying to prove? Are you just because at some point when you're proving a point, you just become not you. But if you go too hard, you're just being an asshole. You know what I mean? Unless it's something really important. I would say 1 agree.
I did 2 disagree.
Interesting.
Because I think I'm never going to be someone who's going to be like, I am right, and here's why.
That's yeah, I wouldn't classify you as someone who
there's
does that.
very few circumstances that I will. But especially, only time I will is if it's about something that someone made me feel. And I'm going to be like, no matter what you think, my feelings are valid.
Right.
So you can't invalidate those. And so I'm right in feeling that way. But if it's about politics or about a stance on jobs or I don't know, something I'm not looking to change your mind. I'm just looking to be understood. And I think other people are too. And so therefore I did disagree.
What are you going to school for?
Political science? No.
No. No, it was just very on brand with what you're looking
I said?
to do. Yeah,
Oh,
which is, I think, a great answer.
Fun fact, insecurity of mine is being myself and people who are close to me being stop psychologizing me. Because I feel like oftentimes people take empathy as being a psychologist,
Mm.
which is an important part. But I think sometimes people
Never gotten
separate
that
the
from you.
profession.
I've never gotten that from you ever once.
Well, I have 4 more years of this program. We'll see.
true.
But like, and the rest of my future. But I really hope people can look at me and be like, that's Justin. That's not just his
Yeah.
training as a psychologist.
I think the only part of training that could even be like resemble how you act is you listen, which I think is a great thing, and I think everybody should be trained to do that. I often listening, like you've probably heard this, but like this, I'm gonna say this wrong, but the best form of listening, like you're not listening if you're listening to say something.
Right. We've
And
said
I
that
think you
before.
often have done that, and I've even been to the
I've
point
often
where
said
I've
something.
no,
Oh,
not said
Not said
something.
something.
To the point that I'm like, oh, does he disagree? Like, did I say? Yeah. But no, I think you're a very good listener, and I don't think that is whether you got that from training or not. I think that's something everybody should be trained on
Mm-hmm.
and should work at. And I don't think it comes naturally because naturally, I think most people listen to then say something,
Right.
and I think a lot of times we expect somebody to say something after, and even want that.
Right.
A lot of the time.
Right.
Because if you say something and then I'm like, like that sounds like I disagree with you and I'm holding something back to me.
Right.
So,
Anyway,
but it's something I could work
but
on.
something that we can think about is
Yeah, but I think you're very good at that.
I
and
am me, and
Oh, I thought you were gonna say and you, and I was like, I take my answer back.
I am me, and I am you. No. Okay. You usually wait for others to introduce themselves first at social gatherings.
I would say
It's
two
like
disagree.
You're shaking your head.
Two disagree. You introduce yourself.
3 disagree.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah.
There's nothing. Actually, there's nothing. If I'm at a party and I'm someone's +1, or if I'm just at a party that someone invited me to and I don't know anyone except for the person that invited me, there's nothing I can't stand more than standing next to someone and then being like having a conversation with people and not introducing me.
That is rude.
Because then I'm
That
just
is rude.
standing in the outside of the circle, like, come on now, or I'll just.
I'm not even talking like in parties. It's even worse in public.
Oh,
at
yeah.
parties, at least like somebody else uses other people to talk to. But that what?
It just made me think of something that happened yesterday. When we share it.
Yeah.
Okay, yesterday we were in Rhode Island. My parents are building a home in Rhode Island, so we were visiting it and just like looking at the updates. And then we went to go get ice cream, and we're gonna bring the ice cream to my aunt's house, who has a house down there as well. And my mom ran into someone that she had worked with for years, and so they were having a conversation, whatever. And she didn't introduce me, or whatever. And so I was just standing there awkwardly outside of the circle, but like very close, like right behind my mom, like a couple feet away. Licking my ice cream, watching the conversation happen.
I'm dead.
And then they had no idea who I was, and my mom never introduced me. So I just was thinking, I'm just like, and then my siblings were laughing in the car because they were watching it all unfold from the car. They started
Right,
laughing.
and
I was
you're
like, "What's
not
going on?"
really
And they're
a-
like, "You're just staring at them." That's like a freak. And I'm like, I didn't even realize that I looked so creepy.
That's
just
really
licking
good.
my ice cream as I'm watching this
That's so good.
conversation happening. Anyway,
Yeah, no, I hate when I'm like in public with someone and they recognize someone and they don't introduce it. It's just awkward.
So awkward.
Because then you look rude for not introducing yourself.
I'll try and find it and be like, "Oh, I'm Justin, by the way. I'm Nick's friend."
But that also looks rude to the friend. Like it's like, and by the way, I'm.
And then they have to be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't introduce."
Yeah, it's so
Makes
uncomfortable.
someone look bad.
It's so uncomfortable. You know what my biggest fear in that situation is when I'm introducing someone, and it happens all the time. My mind goes blank. I'm gonna forget your name.
When
I
you introduce
always
them,
worry.
so like if
I
you're
always-
introducing me to a friend, you forget my name.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It hasn't happened.
Yeah.
And I still introduce them. Like I haven't done that like rude thing since I was like, and maybe I was in high school. I don't know. Because I did do it at one point. I think it's some like growing up, everyone does it.
Yeah.
Like it's like, but now I'm like, I'm gonna introduce this person. But I'm always afraid I'll use you for example and be like, this is my friend. Like how embarrassing if I forgot your name. Like you know what I mean?
Andres, you know, it's like,
Right. Yeah. And I think that's just an anxiety thing. It's never actually happened, but
It's a fear.
Yeah.
Sure. What did you say? You usually wait for others to introduce themselves first at social gatherings. I say 1 disagree.
I said two disagree.
Two disagree.
Because I usually wait for them to introduce themselves. But if it's like really going on for a long period of time, neither of us will be like, I'll be like, I'm Nick, by the way. We didn't get to introduce each other. We were both busy. Like, I'll make it like I won't make them feel bad about it. Like, it's
I've
totally
seen you at, like a fair share, on the periphery with a drink, just like bopping to yourself.
Yeah, because my
like,
scene is not like a gathering or a dance or anything. Like
not
a
like
bar.
a bar. It's not gonna. Yeah.
I'll be very quiet.
Yeah.
Especially at a bar. You've seen
But
me
I've
at
also
bars.
seen you introduce yourself in like more intimate gatherings versus like.
Oh yeah. Well,
party.
you've seen me. Case in point, when we went out for, was it Halloween? It was. We went out with your cohort. I can't even say it with a straight face. The cohorts. Don't worry, I'm your co-slut.
You're gonna meet them all soon.
I am gonna. Well, I've met most of them already.
Yes,
right?
you've met a lot of them.
Yeah, but I'm gonna see them again. I
Running uphill.
don't. Yeah, they were fighting uphill. What were we talking about?
Introducing, case in point, bars versus more intimate.
Oh yeah. No. When we were at the bar, I was like very quiet to the point they're like, "Are you sure you had fun?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm like uncomfortable there, and I start getting like standoffish.
Yeah, fair.
You said and I hate that about myself because I start being like, I get in like a pissy mood. I don't know why. I hate that about myself. Maybe it's because I'm not in control. I don't know.
Are you pissy though, or are you just like uncomfortable?
Both. I'm
Yeah.
always pissy around alcohol.
Oh,
It sounds like I drink and then pee myself.
Yeah.
But that's something I really need to work on because
pissy
it's like everyone else is having fun and I'm not, and I need to work on that.
Yes and no.
Yeah,
You don't
I
have
do
to be
think
comfortable with it.
right, but I need to be a little bit like more open to it. Like everybody can make their own decisions, and your mood can change very quickly.
I'm going back and I have to go you first. I'm going back and forth between ones. Because I'm leaning initially I was leaning more towards disagree because I've seen you be very resilient in terms of like something might happen, you'd be like, okay, and laugh it off and you'd be fine.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I'm gonna say one agree because I think I've seen you go from like happy, content, whatever, to like something bothering you. Pissy, as you said, but like not necessarily with alcohol or anything. Just like I've seen you go from that to that at some points.
It's easier for me to go from positive to negative quickly than negative to positive.
I think that's most people.
A pretty Yeah, because like you're not like in a bad mood and be like jump
that's
for joy.
Most people. Yeah. So I said number one agree for you.
I actually said two disagree.
Two disagree.
Because I feel like I also I'm like pretty like it's hard to get out of like a feeling, you know, for me.
Okay. So just any mood change
and I'm stubborn,
is not going to happen quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think I said?
I think you're pretty moderate here because I don't see you as somebody that's like your mood swings. You know, like I've never thought of you as that person.
Is this a mood swing? You just went
apparently no, I was mood swings. The power within. Have you seen that SpongeBob episode?
Power within. Power within.
Yeah.
The power within.
Yeah.
Mike Myers, it sounds like it could be.
I love like the cult on roller skates, like with the hoods and the like little like bird pendant. I think you're probably a one disagree. I just bopped my chin on the microphone.
I did one agree.
Interesting. Why?
Something can affect my mood. And I wear my heart on my sleeve, and so it's obvious. Like, if something pisses me off,
it usually. I think it's obvious when. I think we're similar in that way though, because when something's bothering us, the other person can usually tell. I think we both become short, not like in a mean way, but like a or one word answers or something. Do we have a guest? Someone there? Perfect. So there was in fact someone there, but no one answered. But I think we're both like that.
You often end up doing things at the last possible moment. You talked about I don't really have any information that's like solidifying my answer here except for what you said earlier. I'm going to say 1 agree, and more so because you mentioned something about procrastination and you mentioned something about perfectionism.
I said 3 agree.
3 agree. Okay. I was on the right side.
You were. I'm always going to do something at the last minute if it needs to be done.
Okay. Including,
Unless it's
including
like,
choosing an answer right
even
there.
when I like something, because sometimes it's, procrastination, sometimes it's laziness, sometimes waiting for the right moment when the right moment's never going to come, as you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. For you, I think you said 2 agree. You left some room for nuance, but you said you procrastinate.
I said 1 disagree.
Interesting. That one's actually really surprising.
Really?
Yeah, because you've made it a point to say that you procrastinate.
Because maybe it's just how I read it, but it's like interpretation. Last possible moment, I'm thinking like 11:59 for a midnight deadline.
You get it done.
I'll
is
do
what
it
I'm saying.
sometimes. I'll get it done, but with some time to spare, usually.
Right.
And I'm not starting something the day it's due or like the day before it's due. Like if it's something that's like I know it's gonna take some time, I'll start it earlier, but I won't finish it until the day. But still, there's some margin for error there in terms of like the time that it's due, and I don't know. I think it's just how I read it. I often end up doing things the last possible moment. No, because I think I do my best to plan and prioritize things, but then I procrastinate.
Fair.
That goes back to the last one.
You enjoy debating ethical dilemmas. I would say you're a 2 or a 3 agree.
3 agree.
Yeah, we have these conversations all the time.
That's what the show is oftentimes too.
Yes.
Is I love talking about philosophy, politics, theology, like.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense because
Voice
you've
cracks.
said all the time.
Like,
Yeah.
enjoy
I didn't even hear it.
Yeah.
You've said multiple times to me that, like, what are the 2 things you're not supposed to talk about? Religion and politics. What are my 2 favorite topics to bring up? Religion and politics.
Yeah.
So that does make sense that you're a 3.
Yeah.
I will let you guess what I was
Okay,
going to
great.
say, unless you were going to say something else.
I think you are. My brain is mush right now. You enjoy debating ethical dilemmas. I think you're a 1 disagree.
And so 2 agree.
2 agree.
Yeah.
Way off.
I've been off
We're
too
not.
recently.
Okay.
I think you're just kind of like only focusing on you being off.
Yeah.
Like, there's that negative thinking, but I
You
do.
2 agree.
I do.
Okay.
But
It
it
makes
has to be
sense
with the
why we
right
have
people.
this show.
It has to be with the right people,
Yeah.
and I do get worried that that's like the vacuum thing. It's easy to debate with people who are like-minded.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In that case, it's not as much of a debate as it. I mean, you're suggesting things and looking at other sides of things, but you're not necessarily talking to someone you disagree with,
Right.
and that can be really, really uncomfortable.
Right.
Like we were talking about the Karen Reed case. I don't know if anybody knows what that is, but it's the
I'm
woman
unfamiliar with it, not having lived here for a bit. So can you
I don't
tell
know
me
a
what
ton-
it is?
I don't know a ton about it. I don't want to put misinformation out there, so I'll just say if you haven't read about it, go look it up on Google.
Okay.
But that's not even the point of and we can talk a little bit more about it after or off air and after I sneeze.
Bless you.
I didn't know where to sneeze. I was like, do I sneeze at the camera for effect? Do I
That's all over.
sneeze into my Lady Gaga shirt? Like, I don't know. But somebody was like, she was like, I'm very conservative and I think this. And I was like, oh.
You said that.
No,
No,
I'm not conservative.
No. But you said,
Yeah, I was like, well, I just think, and I didn't say my sense. I wasn't like, she was like, I was talking to my friend who's super liberal. And I was like,
That's
and
the
they were
best
like,
way to do it.
and they were like, oh, I believe this. And like, they're one of these. And I was like, oh, but I didn't even show that much disapproval. I was like, well, I just think, and I gave my opinion on whether I thought, like, not related to conservative or liberal at all, just whether I thought Karen Reed committed the crime that her accusers
We don't
are
know what it
saying
is,
she
but
did.
that she. Okay.
Right. But
Okay,
I
yeah.
completely like diverted the conversation because
yeah.
I'm uncomfortable with that. If it's like a family member, I'll have that conversation.
Yeah. I think it's safe space is important because
Yeah.
you don't know if you're going to be just.
Right, but I do think there's a point
Blasted.
of not speaking it in the vacuum because what are you actually accomplishing?
Very true.
And that's how I justify some friendships, whether this is a good or bad thing, with people that have
Different views.
different views.
I think it's important.
That's how I justify it, though. Because I'm like, if I walk away from this friendship that I still value, what am I doing?
Because of their views?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Am I changing their beliefs?
If you walk
Or
away,
am I, yeah.
or just continuing the relationship.
If I walk away. Not that I'm trying to change people,
Mm.
but like you can have conversations with people and help them kind of see, not help them see your way, but like, you know,
Yeah, right.
that's how I justify it. Whether that's problematic or not, that's
Right.
Because I often find that it's very easy online to say like, oh, if this person doesn't think the way I do, I would never have. And even people that say that have friends that they disagree with
Right.
politically. It's very interesting.
Right.
It's so much easier to make a blanket statement online.
Right.
But